we're just addicts. We're addicted to sugar. We're addicted to all these things. How do we get there?
Well, sugar is one of the most pervasive things in our entire culture. You can't get away from it. And it's harder to break away from that addiction than it is a lot of drugs.
So does sugar actually impact men and women differently?
Yeah, but I mean, equally bad. I mean, there's not it's less impactful for this group or the other.
Thinking like a normal person, the first thing that I would come and say is, okay, sugar's not good, let's go sugar-free.
Sugar-free is a really good ambition to have, but most people don't want to give up their sweets. Let's just be brutally honest.
Well, then they'll use substitutes.
They'll use substitutes.
I think the substitutes are worse than the thing itself, but where do you stand? Today we're going to be pulling the curtain back on one of the biggest deceptions humanity has ever faced. And that deception surrounds around sugar. Something that you like, something that tastes good, something that could be done in a very positive and powerful way, but something that was completely compromised over the last few decades. Today I am sitting with an incredible woman, Natalie Nicole, the founder and creator of Dulsa. Dulsa is something that I use. It's something incredible. And the reason why I'm actually hosting this interview is because I want to make sure all of you are aware of this incredible product. It's all this sweet. It tastes even better, but it doesn't have all the negative consequences. We've been living in a world where we think salt on our table is real. It's not. We're living in a world where we think sugar and artificial sweeteners are real. They're not. They cause disease, they cause problems, they cause inflammation. And Natalie, sitting right here next to me, is somebody that's gone through this firsthand and doesn't just expose the problem, she actually built a solution. That solution, as I said, is Dulsa right over here. So we're going to be diving into all of this. But before we do, Natalie, I want to say thank you very much for giving me your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Jason. It's so important that we have conversations like this because this gets us to a place of healing.
100%. That's my mission, as you know. It's our mission now. It's many people's mission on this planet. And the more people, the merrier when it comes to how do we heal the world. And I think you bring a very unique twist over here because what you're doing is you're saying, let's take the thing that they compromised, bring it back to its source, and now give people what they want, but in a healthy way. Before we get into Dulsa as a product, what it does, how you built it, what it's actually made of, and what it can do for you, I want to speak about your background. This is something that's personal to you. What did you go through? I know you've gone through health challenges and whatnot from our conversations. What did you go through that caused you to get to the point that you're at today with building this incredible product and now sharing it with the world?
Yeah, really, the thing that triggered this, it wasn't just one event, but a combination of events. But really, the very first thing to touch me in a really deep, profound way was my aunt's diagnosis with multiple sclerosis. And really, my aunt realized that something was really wrong because the entire medical system didn't have any answers for her. They couldn't tell her why she was afflicted with this disease, but what they had were endless prescriptions that they admitted probably wouldn't even help her. And they all came with horrible side effects. And my aunt said that's just not good enough. They had no hope for a positive outcome. So my aunt was a very strong faith-based woman. She leaned into her faith and she had an open mind. My aunt was willing to actually explore her options. My aunt started inquiring about nutrition. So she got a nutritionist.
And when was this?
Oh, goodness. This was back when I was probably around 5, 6 years old. I mean, I'm 46 years old now.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, but she enlisted the help of a nutritionist. So she completely changed her diet. And then she started incorporating things like orthomolecular medicine, so high doses of vitamins, so nutritional supplementation. But she also started looking at alternative therapies like bee venom injections. So around age 8, I was actually injecting my aunt's back with bee venom. And unfortunately, the rest of my family was not on board with this. They actually viewed what my aunt was doing as dangerous. And they said that you really need to listen to your doctors because they know what's best. And she really struggled with that because she said, well, the doctors said they don't have answers. They have drugs that were going to cause harm. And there was no hope of getting better. So she couldn't quite resolve that with them. So she stepped out on her own, and I decided I was going to walk that path with her.
So you bring up bee venom therapy, and I want to speak to all of you guys for a second, because you may hear Natalie saying that if like she's out of her mind. Look it up. It's called BVT. I've seen it done myself. It's used for many, many incredible things, and it's something that's now starting to gain a lot more traction. B venom therapy, BVT for short. There are some people, I've seen it myself. A friend of mine, he's a doctor in front of me. The first time I saw it, he pulls an actual bee, like a live bee, out of this case, and he's picking it up with tweezers or something, and he has it literally in front of my own eyes, stinging. And it's helping with arthritis and inflammation, a bunch of different things. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Anybody that hears bee venom therapy, of like, how can something like that be good? BVT, bee venom therapy, look it up. Natalie knows what she's talking about.
To think about that, almost 40 years ago,
yeah,
is when my aunt was playing with this. So this has been out there. It's always been out there, but it's been suppressed for a reason.
So on the topic of suppression, obviously, and I speak about this all the time, as you know, we're living in this design of society that I don't think was unintentional. I think it's done by design, all the way from financial systems enslaving people to food. It's not real food, and people being addicted and wondering why our cancer rates are going up and autism's going up, and all these things are increasing when we're supposed to have them decreasing if we're doing such a good job. What do you think drove society in that direction? And on one hand, you have the people in power, but you also have we the people saying yes and accepting that, where we hold responsibility too. How did we get to a world where we're just addicts? That's really what's going on. We're addicted to sugar. We're addicted to all these things. How do we get there?
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, this was all by design. This was engineered. There was a structure to this. Mm-hmm. And, you look at the combination of big food, big pharma, big ag, all of these systems work hand in hand collectively. So, the science was bought and paid for. There was such a push to label certain things as good, certain things as bad, like fat. Fat was vilified. That we need dietary fat. It's crucial for our brain health, but sugar got the pass. And then it's like, the prescription models, all of these things. So the science is paid for. The food is engineered to elicit cravings, make us addicted. And then they addressed and attacked our culture. They told us that this is good. They conditioned us to believe that just a little bit of sugar isn't bad. A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down in the most delightful way. I mean, we're given these songs as children, and look at the fallout from it. It's catastrophic.
It's insane when I see it, because I see people, even with salt, they're eating salt and it's not real salt.
It's not salt.
So table salt is not salt. It's some chemical that they synthesized and called it salt, and there's a problem there. Now, when it comes to all of these root cause problems that we're seeing, we could talk about a million different types of solutions, but you chose one specifically. And there are many people doing many incredible things in the world. What you chose to focus on is sugar. You could have chosen salt, you could have chosen drugs, you could have chosen a million different types of things to focus on and fix at the root cause. Why did you choose sugar?
Well, sugar is one of the most pervasive things in our entire culture. Like I said, I mean, it's in our baby formula all the way up to the Ensure for the older population. But sugar is one of the greatest disruptors to our health. So, I mean, it sets off a chain of events from metabolic dysfunction, gut dysregulation, inflammation of the brain. It actually leads to insulin resistance, the very thing that causes diabetes. And so when you look at the fact that sugar is impregnated into every single processed food, you can't get away from it. And it's harder to break away from that addiction than it is a lot of drugs. Because at least like when you look at it, the person who's using things like cocaine and stuff, that's not readily available to you in society everywhere you go, every turn that you make. You go into a convenience store or a gas station, doesn't matter where you go. If you're trying to break that habit of sugar, you're going to be confronted with that all of the time. You never get away from it.
Yep.
So it's one of the things that I felt like if I could help address this one issue, metabolic health, I mean, it's the underlying issue, the inflammation that sugar causes, underlying issue for all metabolic and chronic diseases.
So let's talk about real sugar and fake sugar for a second before we go to Dulsa. What is real sugar? Like, I'm thinking, Coca-Cola outside of the United States, not that I drink Coca-Cola for even a second, but Coca-Cola outside of the United States has sugar cane. Coca-Cola inside the United States has high fructose corn syrup. What is the difference between original source sugar, like real sugar, and the sugar that we're seeing in all these processed foods now?
Well, regular sugar, liken that to gasoline. High fructose corn syrup, jet fuel. I mean, it's just the amount of sugar that you're getting in the cane sugar Coca-Cola versus the high fructose corn syrup American-based version. It doesn't matter. You're still getting way overloaded with sugar. I mean, I think it's somewhere around 50 grams of sugar in a single Coca-Cola. And nobody's drinking just half a bottle or a quarter of a bottle. So one way or the other, you're getting hit with a mega dose of sugar that's going to significantly impact your health. There is no getting around it. Automatically, you're shutting down your immune system. Our good friend Dr. Brian Ardis has addressed this issue countless times. The FDA has known about it for the past 70 years. Sugar shuts down key immune cell function. So whether you're on the Mexican Coca-Cola or the American Coca-Cola, you're destroying your health.
And what if I'm eating apples all day, oranges all day, dates all day? They're high in sugar. What's the difference?
Yeah, they're high in sugar, but they're also combined with fiber, and fiber is going to help to slow down the uptake of that sugar. So not that you should be consuming multitudes of fruits like that a day, because again, the old adage was an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Not a bushel of apples, not figs galore. It was one apple a day, because that fiber is good. There are lots of things in apples that are really good for you. So, a little bit of sugar dose here and there combined with the natural format with that fiber delivery, that's all right.
I feel like there's, I'm seeing the difference between man-made stuff and God-made stuff. Oh, yeah. And when you have God-made stuff, you have a lot less problems. The issue that we're dealing with in the world now, and this is true even with like the light system technology, it's not natural. But we need to create certain things to counteract the unnatural things until we get to that ultimate destiny of we're living natural lives again. And that's almost how I see Dulsa, where you're taking something and you're creating something that will help in the world that we live now as a stepping stone to get us back to our original blueprint, instead of getting us further away from that original blueprint, which is what a lot of people are doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, natural is obviously the very best way to go. But again, we live in a synthetic world. This matrix that we're all having to operate in. Yeah. It's not designed to allow us to function optimally. So we're going to have to incorporate some of the technologies of the world, the beautiful light system that you have. That's a beautiful technology that can help advance healing. So we have to step outside of that bubble because of the world that we live in. But it's not impossible to marry these two worlds together in a way that's truly beneficial for society.
100%. Now let me ask you this right before we get to Dulsa, one last question. There are some people that may be thinking, how is it that there are powers that be that have certain intentions and sinister agendas, even with sugar? And some people may hear that and they say, that's far-fetched. There's no way that something like that is actually happening. Can you pull the curtain back on that a little bit and show how to explain that in a more grounded way that doesn't sound like a conspiracy theory and just makes it real of what's actually going on in the world?
Yeah, well, I mean, the world is filled with good energy and negative energy. There's no getting away from that. This is the story of time. You're confronted with these two polar opposites. And so somehow we need to navigate through this, trying to get to the light, trying to elevate our consciousness as best as humanly possible. But there are incentives for that negative energy to keep us down in a low vibratory platform where we are dependent on masters essentially to help us conduct our lives. And if we can start chiseling away from that negative imprint and start working towards the light, looking for things, solutions, people, energy that can help lift up humanity, and we start again turning inward and looking at how do I become a better version of myself, because that's automatically going to amplify everything around us. But you look at the systems in place. None of these things are built to lift you up, from our educational system to our medical systems to these government entities. None of these things are actually working to free humanity. All of these things are systems of control. Love is not about control. So right there, that should tell you that system is broken. But again, like with something like the Dulsa, and my mission with this it's like you look at the impact that all of these things have on us, all these artificials, all these sugars, the high fructose corn syrup. I mean, you look at what it's doing on a biology level to us. Boy, we should really talk about that and how.
Why don't you break that down a little further?
Yeah, so, with sugar, the impact that it has on men's health is significant. I mean, you look at the problems that we're having aside from the shots and everything else and how that's damaging fertility, but sugar is one of these things that actually lowers men's testosterone.
So does sugar actually impact men and women differently?
Yeah, but I mean, equally bad. I mean, there's not it's less impactful for this group or the other. I mean, for the men, again, lowers testosterone, inflames the prostate. It actually shuts down your body's ability to create nitric oxide. And for the people who aren't aware, nitric oxide is the third most important gas that your body produces. And without it, you will not have healthy blood flow. So guys, if you're actually having performance issues and you're finding it a little bit hard to perform, you might want to actually consider lowering your sugar intake, because that's a major culprit. And for women, it's not much better, because we're seeing that women are having increased progesterone disruption, so their PMS symptoms worsen. You're seeing an increase in things like PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. You're seeing an increase in that, thyroid disruption, weight gain issues, but also too, it attacks fertility. So these are not low impact issues that we're talking about here, and it's catastrophic whether you're a man or a woman.
What about gut and brain impacts? How does it impact?
Yeah, so, our gut is our second brain, and our immune system lives in our gut. So if we're negatively impacting that, that's just a whole host of problems. But also, too, think about your gut intuition, the thing that actually helps you to navigate through this world, knowing that something is either inherently good or inherently bad. When you start to cross those signals, break down that protection layer in your gut wall lining, that's a major problem. So yeah, the gut and the brain, those work in concert together, and sugar disrupts that whole system.
Thinking like a normal person, the first thing that I would come and say is, okay, sugar's not good, let's go sugar-free.
Yeah, well, sugar-free is a really good ambition to have, but most people don't want to give up their sweets. Let's just be brutally honest.
Well, then they'll use substitutes.
They'll use substitutes.
I think the substitutes are worse than the thing itself, but where do you stand?
You are 100% correct on that one. Again, look at who is providing these sugar alternatives for us. It's the same groups, the same lobbies. They have incentives to, again, let's throw a carrot out to you, okay? Let's look at, things like sucralose. Sucralose, America's favorite sweetener or a favorite sugar alternative, Splenda, Lily Yellow packets, that one has actually been shown to lead to acute insulin resistance, especially in teenagers when combined with fast-acting carbohydrates. There was actually a study performed in 2020 from Cell Metabolism. It was a small study. It was a short study, but it was looking at how these artificial sweeteners impact different age demographics. Teenagers, when they consume fast-acting carbohydrates, within days, they develop the markers for insulin resistance, the thing that leads to diabetes. They actually had to shut down that study due to ethical concerns. Now, you would think that that information would have made it to the news. You would think that parents would be warned about something like this, because if you look at teenagers today, you look at their diets and consist of fast-acting carbohydrates, but also to a lot of energy drinks, a lot of sugar-free products that have things like sucralose buried in them.
Aspartame.
So
I think one's like phenylalanine or whatever it's called.
None of them are. But I mean, so all of these things, but the information is not getting out to parents or to just the general population. So when you think about that impact, the damage that could be avoided, but unless you're studying metabolic health, or unless you're looking at independent studies, like there are some amazing people out in this field. Dr. Nick Norwitz, Dr. Ben Bickman, their goal is to make metabolic health mainstream and digestible. You don't have to have a science background to understand the information that they're sharing with you, and that's something that should be on the forefront for all of us.
I think what inspires me the most with what you're doing is it's not just this like concept in the mind for you. You've lived it. You have your own experience dating back to when you were a kid. You're now taking what you know about the world and a lot of the corruption that's going on. And again, a lot of people just focus on problems. You're not just focusing on a solution, you actually built a solution. So I want to get to Dulsa. With all this sugar talk that we had so far today, how does this change what we're talking about in terms of impacts? What does it give to the end user? What are the pros? What are the cons, if any? What can we expect? I mean, I tasted it. It tastes amazing, right? It looked like I was doing cocaine when I tried it, but it tasted amazing. So what is Dulsa? What's it based on, and how does it work?
Yeah, so Dulsa is something that I created in my kitchen with ingredients that I knew to be clean, safe, and beneficial. So I actually incorporated 9 synergistic plant extracts to actually build this platform. And the really beautiful thing is I looked at the key markers of health, the things that need the most help and support, because these things are completely dysregulated. So I incorporated prebiotic fibers in there because I really wanted to focus in on gut health, okay? So I wanted to create a food source for the healthy microbes in our gut, but also to starve off the negative microbes. And on top of that, I incorporated postbiotics and probiotics also. So those are there to support, lift up the system, but again, help promote regularity in the system, and also to support immune function, because again, gut dysbiosis really damages the immune function. So gut health was really important to this sweetener, because it's great to have a sugar alternative, but if you're just sweetening your food or your beverage, it's lacking something. So I wanted to create a new space for sweeteners. So along with the gut health aspect of it, I really wanted to look at mitochondria, because of course, especially in arenas like biohacking, you're seeing so much talk now about mitochondria. People are starting to understand now the cell's life force is coming from the mitochondria. So I incorporated ingredients in here that actually bolster mitochondria production, ATP, cellular energy, but also to look at cellular detoxification, cellular hydration. So there's actually a full spectrum fulvic mineral built into the sweetener. So there's no need to take in things, horrible products. Not that I think any of your listeners are still consuming things like Gatorade or Powerade, but this is something that actually works on cellular hydration. So no need for products like that anymore. But then also too, the sweetener base itself is coming from things like organic allulose and organic monk fruit. Those two right there, you have a rare sugar that doesn't behave like sugar, that actually helps with uric acid lowering and also inflammatory markers, but it also stabilizes blood glucose. So allulose has a lot of amazing research behind it. And it's kind of funny because you can watch somebody consume allulose while taking in like carbohydrates, and you'll actually see their blood glucose start to rise because of those carbohydrates, and it'll start to come back down into normal balanced ranges. So that was really important to me, stabilization, but then also too, making sure that those fulvic minerals were there to help with protein and nutrient absorption. So you have a functional food built into a body of a sweetener. So this is unlike anything else, completely new category. So when people ask, like, how do you define this? Yeah, it's a sweetener, but this is a functional food. And each ingredient, and again, there are 9 ingredients in here, all chosen for very specific reasons. They work in harmony with one another, but they actually make each thing perform better. Synergy.
So they're complementing each other and kind of synergizing together. I actually look at this as a biohacking tool that tastes good.
Yeah, absolutely. And so here's the greatest thing though too. You know, children are incredibly picky. Okay, so if you give something that's off-putting to a child, they're going to tell you all about it very quickly. I love testing this with children because what I have seen over and over again, children will taste it and they're like, it reminds me of a marshmallow. It reminds me of birthday cake. It reminds me of vanilla pudding. There's something where it makes them recount all of the wonderful things that they've enjoyed, and it's always a very positive experience for them. So
I love that. I love that. And I can't say enough. It tastes great. Usually you get like the healthy things, and then you have to like sacrifice certain things along. You know, the deodorant, sometimes you buy them and it's like they're clean, no aluminum, but you smell like garbage. And then you need to find the really good one. Well, this is the same exact thing. It's I don't want to call it a substitute because you're really taking from the source of it all. It's a substitute to what we call mainstream now, but it's the source of where things really come from, like Natalie explained with the ingredients that are in here. The beautiful thing is it really is a biohacking tool that you can eat and that makes life more fun And that makes things taste better, and you don't usually have those things go together.
Yeah, it's really unique the way it all came together. And again, I give thanks to God with everything because I can see his fingerprints over all of this. But again, you could sit there every day trying to have a complicated routine, taking countless supplements, mixing potions and lotions and pills and chugging it all down, or your daily habits, your daily routine with your coffee or your tea or your matcha, whatever it is that you're doing, literally putting a couple scoops of that in there satisfies all of those requirements.
So I want to ask you, we've known each other for a few years now. Why did you decide to bring me into Dulsa in terms of helping raise awareness for it? Why me? I know you're working with quite a few people, but what happened there?
Yeah, well, again, like you said, we've been speaking for a few years, and you have a platform where you have a listener group that is already prioritizing their health. They're actively seeking solutions. They see the problems, they recognize it, and they're solution driven. So when you come into something like this, it expands globally. So now we're able to, again, provide solutions for the people that are actively seeking it. It's not that I don't want to touch everybody, because I do. I want this across all communities. I want this to become mainstream, but I know that it's going to take getting in front of the people who are actively seeking out solutions, and you bring that to the table, because this is about not just a mission, but a movement to elevate all people.
I see, I mean, you've brought people like Dr. Judy Mikovits, Dr. Philip DeFina, Dr. Antoine Chevalier, am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, you are.
How did you get all these people? Judy is an amazing, amazing human being, world-renowned in what she does. How did you get these doctors on board?
Yeah, it's amazing, Jason, because the list actually keeps on growing. I mean, I was just having a meeting with our cardiovascular specialist the other day. We're working with Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, Tom Renz, all these amazing people who are fighting for humanity. And here's the beautiful thing. I didn't seek any of this out. They're all coming into this. It's like they were introduced to it by whatever the means were, and they are in alignment with this. This is something that resonates with them, and it's something that makes sense. And they're saying, I see how this fits into the healing of humanity. And they're actually just coming into this and locking arms with me and saying, we all need to work collectively to bring this to the world.
Yeah, it's awesome, because usually I hear sugar and it's like there's a negative association with it. And now there's a positive association while getting all the positive things with it. So I would call it, in a way, like a therapeutic agent. But what would you use it for? Obviously, you could put in your coffee. What about baking, cooking, things like that?
I mean, literally, there are no limits. So everything that you would find that has a sweetener in it, whether it be a beverage, a food, a sauce, a condiment, dry spices, Dulsa literally fits into all of those things. But here's the really amazing thing is, we're not just looking at the consumer market, we're actually looking at the food production market. So with the MAHA agenda, with Kennedy at the helm, you can see that he's actively trying to clean up the ingredients list within the foods. So we are directly approaching food companies, beverage companies, and there are companies that are trying to get ahead of what's coming, because they can see the writing on the wall. They are not going to be able to continue to operate the way that they have, so they better get ahead of this. And if they want to look like rock stars, they're going to have to start seeking out innovative products like this so that they can ratchet up their offering. So they can say, we're first in line, we have the number one thing, look at our product, don't leave us. Because consumers drive all markets. And once we start saying, we're not going to buy your products because they have poisons in them, we want our food and beverages to not only satisfy all of our cravings, but it should also amplify our health. So we're addressing all of those measures.
Consumers drive markets. I think that's so important, because people feel like we're all victims to this world, and we're not. We've created it by buying into it. Mm-hmm. And if we stop buying into something, we buy into something else that resonates a lot more, that has real science, that wasn't manipulated by certain people that are paying for it, you'll actually get to a point of completely changing this world and making it a much more positive place. So you have done incredible work with this. I have quite a few of these at my house now. Me and Noah, my fiance, have been using it for quite some time now. So first of all, I want to say thank you for the creation that you've brought to this world through Dulsa. And I want to ask you, with that, right now you're speaking to a lot of people that are going to be watching this. What's one message that you hope everybody walks away with today after watching this conversation? One thing that you hope everybody leaves with to impact them positively?
Well, I really hope that everybody recognizes that you are so powerful, but you are not broken. Your body is perfectly designed to heal itself. And the most important thing that you can take away from this is when you start removing things that are harming you and you start introducing things that support you, you can get to a place of perfect health. It's a process. Don't feel like you have to get there overnight. Allow yourself room to change and grow, but keep on working towards making positive changes, and you will get there. And there's a whole world that is rising up and moving towards this.
I love that. I love that. And I want to say thank you for your time. And for all of you watching, we're in a new year now. A new year brings a new energy. It has new actions that come with it. So make a change. Don't keep doing the same thing that you did in 2025 or 2024 or 2023 that keeps draining your energy. And by the way, I'll challenge all of you with something. Write down 3 things, even though we're in the new year, write down 3 things that brought you further in life in 2025, that gave you fuel and made you happy. And then write down 3 things, or even 1 thing or 2 things that drained your energy consistently throughout the last year. And that is your blueprint of what to double down on and what to also stop doing, depending on what gave you energy and what took energy away. What I can tell you for a fact is this right here is something that's going to give you energy this year and the years moving forward. So make sure to check it out. I love your tagline over here. I'm looking at it. Backed by science, engineered for health, a smarter way to sweeten life naturally. And that's exactly what Dulsa is all about. So make sure to check it out. You could use the link in the description below to learn more, or simply go to tlsmarketplace.shop. You'll be able to see all Dulsa products over there, whether it's the bigger packs, the travel packs. They have something for everybody. Check it out, make it a part of your life, and truly make it a part of the foundation moving forward. Because if you change just this one thing, it will change the foundation of your life. It will change the way that you feel throughout your day. It will decrease certain things when it comes to depression and anxiety, because when you're more balanced in your gut, you don't experience those things anymore, and you live a much more positive life. That's what Dulsa is about. That's why I chose to help represent this and bring more awareness to it. And that's why it is now available on the Light System Marketplace. So go to tlsmarketplace.shop. There's a link in the description below. And don't forget to share this video with everybody that you think it's going to positively impact. God bless you all. I love you all. And Happy New Year. Thank you very much.